Good morning. Welcome to Saturday. Kind of overcast down here, but you know what? With it overcast down here, 5 minutes from now, the sun should be shining, not a cloud in the sky. This is just the most. The weather down here is like being on a tropical island. It just constantly changes, and you never know what you're going to get. But that's life, you know. Makes things interesting down here. So let's see, what do we got for big stories today? This government shutdown. I thought they figured that out yesterday, but apparently not. They're waiting for the House to vote, and once that's done, then they'll reopen. So, you know, they're basically giving them Saturday off. Sundays, I don't think too many people work anyhow, so. You know, I don't think it's a really big deal at this moment, but it's the headline, you know, and that's a surprising story right there, that it's the headline. Going back over to check it out, see if everything's all right now. And people are still getting nuts about the Epstein files. Let me tell you something, right? I said this before, and I'll say it again. He's in it. Okay? I don't really see them doing anything about it because there's too many people in it. One of the most amazing things I've discovered in the last few years is the amount of people involved in pedophilia. Oh, man. And what do you got? The other big story is Tulsi Gabbard going around seizing files from the 2020 election that Trump lost because he's going to rewrite history and he's going to prove he won. Well, if he won, then he can't be elected. He shouldn't have been able to run for the second term. This is actually his third term, and he shouldn't be allowed to run, and they should immediately disqualify him as president and throw him out, drag him out in chains. Come on, that's what I want to see. People say we got to get rid of him. I don't want him voted out. I want him dragged out in chains. I want him dead. You know, I want him dragged out in chains as the criminal that he is. And that's what he is. He's a criminal. You know? I don't know what else to call him. He's not a politician. He's a low-life criminal. And if it turns out that he's a pedophile too, I'm not surprised. I think half the politicians in Congress are. You don't understand what money can do to you, you know? Now, I started out with money. And I'm screwed up because I started out with money. I didn't know how to handle not having it. You know, cash. Not talking about money in the bank. I'm talking about cash. You know? It took me a long time to learn how to handle that. I lost a lot of opportunities because of that. But that's neither here nor there, you know. Lucy's here. Everybody say hello to Lucy. Jim said Lucy lifts her head up when I'm talking. When she hears her name, a lot of times she'll just start wagging her tail. And she does that when she's in the elevator, starts banging on the elevator wall. People look at her like she's crazy. She is. She just loves the attention. This guy had a dog this morning, another female, docile female. Very docile, very sweet girl. And Lucy started picking on her. I said, Lucy, don't pick on her. You know? You don't want people to pick on you, and I won't let people pick on you, but I don't want you to pick on her. You know? I think we're headed for a very unstable time. And I don't know whether I'll be around for it or not because I have the solution of it, but it's, you know, See, this is what I was. Remember I was talking about they're dividing the world up. Now Trump wants to kick everybody out of Latin America except him, but China's already in there deeply. They supply us with a lot of stuff. They own companies down here. You know, I don't think they're going anywhere fast. So unless Trump wants to buy them out, give them something that they can use, like. What would they rather have? I don't know. Give them some part of Europe or something, trade it off. Oh, yeah. Just wandering around today. Saturdays are actually pretty quiet down here today, which is surprising me. But if you go into the city, like the town that I live in, Bayo, don't take your car, because you can walk faster from one end of the city to the other. I can. An old man with a bum hip could outwalk most of the cars and the traffic. And I don't know where those people are going. I don't know why they can't be. If they're using that road to a shortcut to get out of town, that's really ridiculous, because that's the worst road. The main street in Bayo is probably the worst, I don't think it's kids. It looks like families most of the time when I'm around, and I just go, where are you going to park your car? There is no place to park your car around there, Not on a Saturday, folks. If you want it, you can. By the time you park your car, you should have walked in the first place. You'll be closer to your house than you are to the store. Now, Don Lemon is facing some charges. That's ridiculous. I think this other journalists and whatnot, I think it's that these people need to be indicted. These that are indicting them, Indicting means a grand jury, I think. Grand juries need to be, educated in what they're doing. But Trump has learned to use the law to his benefit. Tweak it a little bit, and he can do almost anything he wants, And I'm kind of like, let's see, what's this? Oh, Obama. Trump is all bent out of shape about Obama's Netflix deal. And it's for all the wrong reasons. Well, that's because he's petty. He's a little petty man, He's got an ego that can't, and a small dick. Small hands, small dick. And I don't think his brain's going to weigh that much when they finally cut his head open and take it out, He just can't stand the fact that a black man is more popular than he is. And he's the president. And he wants to know why he isn't the most popular man in the country. Well, because he's a scumbag. He's an idiot. And he's stupid. And he's deplorable. And he's about a million other things that have nothing to do with being liked. So he's not going to be liked ever by normal people, but by the people that start to buy into his fascism. He'll be that was Hitler, Hitler was loved at times, as long as you weren't Jewish, people loved it. A lot of people loved Hitler. I mean, that's the thing, you have this issue going on in the background that people aren't really aware of. Racism and everything else, I don't know why this story keeps showing up. Bill Belichick's exclusion from Hall of Fame ballot is disgraceful. That's not important to me. The fact that you got Tulsi Gabbard seizing 2020 election data. That's important to me. I don't know how they'll get rid of him, but like I said, I don't want him dead. I don't want him shot or assassinated or anything like that. I want him pulled out. You got it? Pulled out of the White House, dragged down the stairs in chains. If he's in his underwear, it would be even better, or his bathrobe. That would be even better. But I want chains, not handcuffs. I want chains. Let's see if I can find out if there's something did happen with that story about the other day. Jesus. People are going after him, Trump, for abuses of executive power and stuff like that to the Supreme Court. That's not going to work. He bought the Supreme Court. It's bought and paid for. Yeah, Trump keeps benefiting from that Supreme Court's criminal immunity ruling. Because he's a criminal. He's lucky he lives where he does and everything. He's got the protection he does, because I know some guys that would just like to take him out because he's competing against them, Oh, Jesus. This is so stupid. I want him in chains. The sooner that you can put him in chains and drag him from the building, if you have to do it down in Mar-a-Lago, then I want him. Then I want him in his underwear, in chains, in his underwear, dragged out of the bedroom, and Melania in the background laughing about the whole damn thing, I think that would be pretty cool. Alright, listen up. Won't be here tomorrow. And I'm not getting a do nothing day that I wanted tomorrow. Going shopping, I have to cook. We have to have, my family's coming for lunch and everything, so it's not going to be the quiet do nothing day I wanted. So anyhow, I might take a day off during the week or something. I will let you guys know, But right now I'm off. I won't be here Sunday. There's nothing going on. There's no football or anything, so I don't know what I'm going to talk about. If I did show up, In the following weekend is Super Bowl, and I'm going to be watching that if I'm alive, if I can. It's just one of those things I've watched every year. I've seen every Super Bowl. I don't know that my first Super Bowl was 15th of January. The next day was my 21st birthday, 16th of January. I was in Fort Dix in a rec room for my basic training, which started the next day. We were basically free that day, so they let us watch the game in the rec room. And it was pretty cool. Had a good time, You don't realize how, important that game was at the time. Green Bay, Kansas City. Kansas City ended up being the first AFC team to beat, or AFL team to beat anybody in the NFL to win the Super Bowl. And it was Green Bay, and it was Hank Stram coaching him. One of the most innovative coaches of his time. Didn't hang around a long time, but because the problem with professional football is you need to replace you have to have short-term contracts that you can replace these players after a certain period of time without costing a fortune, and it doesn't work out that way. Well, anyhow, we'll discuss that more during the week, what have you. For the time being, I'm saying goodbye. Have a great afternoon. Hit the subscribe button, please. I've had 22 subscribers for much too long. I need more. Mas. Okay, we'll talk to you on Monday. Have a great weekend, and you can drop by in about a half hour for the live video if you feel like it. Meantime, bye.